Welcome back to Sam Boyd Stadium on this Christmas Eve. Spectacular rendition of our national anthem with both bands on the field and a giant American flag and some fireworks across the way in this magnificent setting. And Bob, we're just a couple of minutes away from kickoff. We're going to be sending it below in a moment to Lee to get a field report about conditions and so on. But you made a trip here in the 80s to come down here and when the Beavers played football against UNLV. And this stadium and the whole atmosphere around it has grown up a great deal.
This was a stadium much like a high school stadium back in those days, but they've added on to it. It's a horseshoe stadium with extended bleacher seats on each end of the open horseshoe, the dressing rooms in that end zone, and then a brand new press box. This is a beautiful facility. Artificial surface. Oregon State likes an artificial surface. They have one at Reser Stadium. They like playing on this kind of a surface. That bodes well for the Beavers. And this is just a great environment. The people do a tremendous job here with the Las Vegas Bowl. I'm very impressed with the hospitality. Of course, this is a town and a city that's in the hospitality industry, so they ought to know how to do it and do it right, and they certainly have this week.
They have put on a great show. The teams have been involved in a lot of functions together, as always happens in bowl games. And I'll tell you what, the other night at the Golden Nugget down in the old part of town, downtown Las Vegas, there was a joint venture, a pep rally, and the rhetoric between the two teams that night, they were ready to play 2 nights ago, Bob, because they were fired up. The jabbering, the chattering back and forth was good-natured on one hand, but you can tell that this is going to be a very competitive, physical, hard-hitting game. The guys were ready to go 48 hours ago.
Well, there's no question. These are two teams coming in with a little bit different perspectives. Of course, New Mexico has won 7 of 8. They really want to keep it going, and the Beavers have dropped their last 2 ball games to Oregon and to USC, and they really want to right the ship. So the seniors that are going out can say, we won that bowl game we were in, the Las Vegas Bowl, our last game as Oregon State Beavers. I just think this is going to be a tremendous football game, and the matchups are terrific. Both of these teams with so many similarities, the leading rushers in their respective conferences, great defense. It's couldn't be a better match, in my opinion.
New Mexico won the toss, deferred their choice to the second half. The Beavers will take the football, and dropping back to receive, Harvey Witten along with Brandon Katniss. And Bob, just to say that is great news based on the last time we saw Harvey on a football field.
Well, there's no question about that. It was Harvey Witten who took that great hit from Jerry Mattson in the Oregon game. He was knocked unconscious, remained so for a number of minutes when was taken to Sacred Heart Hospital in Eugene. But he has recovered. He's back. He's anxious to play. He's back there ready to receive along with Brandon Katniss, and we're just about ready to get the 12th annual Las Vegas Bowl underway.
Tonight's kickoff brought to you by Roth Heating and Cooling. Roth Heating and Cooling has been keeping Beaver fans comfortable in their homes and offices since 1976. Aaron Barrett has the ball teed up, and it's a little breezy down there because the breeze has just blown the football off the tee for Barrett. And dropping back for the Beavers down to our right, and the Beavers will be moving from right to left from our vantage point here at Sam Boyd Stadium. Harvey Witten, Brandon Katniss, and the fans, even though, quite frankly, it's a little disappointing in the attendance, at least right now. They're into it, all on their feet, watching Harvey take it 2 yards deep, come up the right side to the 10, hit at the 15-yard line. Down he goes at about the 16. So a 16-yard return for Harvey Witten, and that's an important play right there for Harvey to take a hit, get up, and know that he's still a football player.
No question. That was an important hit for Harvey Witten to take, and it was a solid hit by Billy Struther, the linebacker, who came down and made the first contact to help bring him down.
The Beavers 1st and 10 as we get the 12th annual Las Vegas Bowl underway. The ball just across the 16-yard line on the right hash mark. Mike Parker, Bob Grimm, Lee Jamieson with you on this Christmas Eve. Happy holidays, and thanks for joining us one more time here on the Beavers Sports Network. The Beavers send Kenny Farley, the slot man, in motion through the formation. A long count for Derek Anderson. Derek turns, gives the ball to Jackson, and he's tackled for a loss at the 15-yard line. So they're very good against the run, and they start off very well that way with safety Sidney Wiley penetrating for the yard loss on Stephen.
Run blitz by Sidney Wiley came right up on the line of scrimmage at the last moment, just before the ball was snapped, came around the open end. Uis had vacated there. He lined up on the right, then moved over to the left side, and Wiley just came off tackle there and was able to make the stop on Steven Jackson.
Derek appeared to change the play at the line of scrimmage. We had sensed that they were going to try to run a screen pass to Stephen to open the game. I think Derek checked into the run. Now he fakes it to Jackson, a hitch pass to Newsom. James with a catch, breaks a tackle, first down across the 30 to the 32-yard line. A gain of about 16. They'll mark it at the 31-yard line. A quick hitch to James, and big game with that catch is now the single-season receptions leader, as he and Dave Montagna had shared the mark at 78. That's 79 for James.
Absolutely, and he only needed 38 yards coming into this game to set the single-season record that he established a year ago at 1,284 yards. So we'll keep the fans posted on that as we move through the game as well.
James Newsom's 79th catch, rewriting the OSU record book seemingly with every play. 1st and 10 Beavers at their own 31. First series of the game. Anderson, three-step drop, swings it in the left flat to Jackson. Jackson burrows his way out to about the 39-yard line. A gain of about 8 for Stephen. New Mexico hitting Stephen hard, but Jackson getting up was the hittee, and he's delivering a verbal message now after he lowered the boom on a couple of different New Mexico players.
Well, cornerback Gabriel Fulbright came up there and made the first contact, and he was really talking to Steven Jackson. Now, Fulbright only goes about 168 pounds, and Stephen's about 230, so tremendous difference in size, but the cornerback up to help make the stop.
The 40th reception of the season for Steven Jackson. Here comes the blitz on first down. Give it to Steven Jackson over right guard. Jackson crosses the 40. They'll mark it right at the 40-yard line for a pickup of a long one. It'll be 2nd down and 9. A lot of pushing and shoving at the end of the play, and it's clear that the emotions are running high at the outset of this football game.
There's no question about that. And good speed inside. The linebackers for New Mexico have pretty good speed. Their middle linebackers really like a down lineman. They come up lined up in a 3-3-5. 3 down linemen, 3 linebackers, 5 defensive backs. But Daniel Jaronski, the middle linebacker, 6 foot, 250 pounds. He fills in there just like a lineman.
2nd and 9. Or pardon me, 3rd down and 1. 3rd down and 1. The Beavers go out of the power formation, out of the eye. Give it to Jackson. Stephen appeared to be stopped short of the first down, and he is. So the Beavers on 3rd and short try to run a lead play, a power play with Steven Jackson following Ryan Cole. Penalty flags come out. The Beavers were stopped short of the first down, but we do have a personal foul coming up here, Bob.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see which way this goes. New Mexico really making a lot, very emotional, really strutting around and taunting. And these ACC officials said coming in, their referee, who is Joe Ryder, said, you know, we want these two teams to play, but they're not going to let this thing get out of control
After
early
the play, unsportsmanlike on the defense. 15 yards, first down.
Sounds like Brian Doyle Murray being at least handling the microphone duties. It's Joe Ryder, the referee, Bert Pierce, the umpire, Mike Samples, the linesman, Richard Misner, the line judge, Angie Bartis, the side judge, Ronnie Stewart, the field judge, and the back judge is Barry Hendon. But, Bob, something we've seen bedevil the Beavers for years hurts New Mexico. They come up with a stop, but the Beavers get 15 yards and a first down.
And now can the Beavers take advantage of it? The ball has moved across the midline now on the 45, so we'll see if Oregon State can capitalize on that New Mexico mistake.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, 15-yard penalty, moves the football to the New Mexico 45-yard line in the first series of the game. 12:21 to go in the quarter, so the Beavers pick up a first down via penalty as New Mexico fails to rein its emotions in after stuffing Steven Jackson on the lead play on 3rd and 1. Hassett a slot inside of Newsom. James in motion. Anderson to throw, pressured, and sacked. Back at his 44-yard line, Anderson loses 11. However, there's a penalty flag out on the far of the right sideline, and we may get a defensive hold coming up against New Mexico.
I think that will be the call. It was DJ Renteria in there from his tackle position to make the stop on Derek, but this call is going to go against New Mexico. What a change of events for Oregon State. It's usually the other way around, or certainly that's the way it had been for Oregon State
Offside
the last couple games of the season.
Defense. 5 yards, first down.
An offsides penalty against New Mexico. So back-to-back plays for a team that averages only 56 yards of penalties per game. It's interesting to note, though, that in the one game that they played against a Pac-10 school this year, Washington State, they were penalized 101 yards in that game in Pullman.
Yes, they were. So it'll be interesting to see if this New Mexico team can calm down. They are really cranked coming into this game, and I think that's a part of their issue. They will calm down as it moves along.
1st and 5 for the Beavers at the New Mexico 40 after the offsides penalty. Hass flank to the right. James Newsom split left. Just 2 wide receivers. Quickie over the middle. Nice catch by Tim Ewis. And he drags tacklers ahead inside the 25-yard line to the 24. A gain of 16 as Tim Ewis signals with that right arm to move the change. Tim making his 43rd catch of the year.
And 7 touchdowns on the season. He made the All Pac-10 first team, that time going against linebacker Billy Strother. And these linebackers stay on the side. They don't switch strong to weak. If they're a left linebacker, they stay left. Strother that time there to make the tackle, but Ewis drags him for an extra 4 or 5 yards.
Tim Ewis showing great strength. He's at a wing to the right. Kenny Farley at a slot inside of Hass. Newsom left. Hass goes in motion from the Lobo 25. Anderson to throw. Dumps it in the flat. Intended for Steven Jackson, and it's incomplete. The ball nearly hit lineman Kanan Sanchez as the play did not develop the way it was supposed to. Sanchez and Ninehouse talk about it after the fact, but that play disrupted by the pressure, and the Beavers, I'm not sure, were where they were supposed to be.
And nearly intercepted. DJ Renteria was out there from his tackle position, defensive tackle position, looping to the outside, and he was right in the middle of that play. The ball hit him and fell to the ground.
2nd down and 10 for the Beavers at the New Mexico 25-yard line. Derek Anderson had hit his first 3 passes. Now 2nd and 10. The football just off the left hash mark as the Beavers move right to left. Ewis goes in motion as a lead blocker for Jackson, and Jackson hit in the backfield and tackled for a loss. They'll mark the football at about the 29-yard line, but a loss of about 5 for Steven. It'll be 3rd and 15, and they are living up, Bob, to their ability to get into the gaps. Marcus Parker doing the job that time.
Well, Marcus Parker getting tremendous penetration that time, coming off the left side between Matt Brock and Kanan Sanchez, 4 yards deep into the backfield to make that tackle on Steven Jackson.
Steven Jackson, 4 carries, minus 5 yards. Farley at a slot inside of Hass. Newsom given plenty of room, split left. 3rd down and 14 from the Lobo 29, and they're coming again from the secondary. Anderson tucks it to run. Now he throws. Newsom was knocked down. The Beavers want a flag. They're not going to get it. Newsom tried to turn in. He came up looking for a flag after getting knocked down by Gabriel Fulbright, but no flag. It's 4th down and 14, and apparently there is a flag somewhere. The Beavers are penalized here. There is a penalty flag on the far side. Now, I'm not sure. I didn't hear the call. Here's Joe Ryder to give us the explanation, perhaps officially. But that will march the Beavers back to their 34-yard line. Any guesses, Bob?
Well, I didn't see a thing. It was an offensive penalty, obviously, but I didn't see it.
Let's go check in with Lee Jamison, who's on the field for us. Lee, as the officials get together, do you have any idea what they called there?
False start.
False start? Okay.
So obviously some movement along that offensive line. We did not see it from our vantage point.
Thank you, Lee. And the Joe Ryder signal didn't look like the usual false start indication. But anyway, it's 3rd and 19 for the Beavers, and Anderson will go out of shotgun scoreless in the first quarter from the Lobo 34. Screen pass in the right flat to Jackson. Needs a block at the 25 to the 20. And the Eldorado kid on his way. He will score. Touchdown, Beavers. A 34-yard screen pass from Derek Anderson to Steven Jackson. And, Bob, we were told that was the play they would run to open the game. Derek checked out of it because he didn't like the look. And with New Mexico sending seemingly everybody on the blitz on 3rd and 19, the perfect call.
They saved it for a scoring opportunity. They were in a scoring position. And you're right, the blitz was on. Everyone was coming that time. And Derek just lobbed the ball over those blitzing linebackers in secondary. And Steven Jackson did the rest of the work.
And that's the first time all season that a screen pass has broken for a touchdown. The Beavers take the opening kickoff, and they have to do some nifty work. They get one penalty penalty, first down via penalty, and then Steven Jackson on 3rd and 19 with a convoy in front, making the catch on the screen pass in the right flat, following his blockers and bursting 34 yards for a touchdown. With 9:59 to go in the first quarter. The Beavers on the board first in the 12th annual Las Vegas Bowl. Oregon State 7, New Mexico nothing. Back with a Beaver kickoff after this on the Beavers Sports Network. Good blocking.
Yeah, good blocking, yeah. Well, there weren't too many people left down there. That safety coming, yeah. Yeah, they did.
That is the first screen pass they popped for a touchdown, I think, in Jackson's career. I don't remember a screen pass per se. They've run dumps in the flat.
Swing out of the backfield and flat stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think there's been a yeah.
Swing, yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, it's time for a Horizon Air Beaver touchdown recap, brought to you by Horizon Air, Wings of the Great Northwest. The Beavers going 84 yards in 10 plays, taking 5 minutes off the clock. In so doing, Derek Anderson 4 for 5 en route, 74 yards, including the 34-yard touchdown pass on a perfectly executed screenplay. Bob, we were talking off the air. Steven Jackson's caught 41 balls on the year now, but that's the first time I think in the 3 years we've had the pleasure of watching Steven where the Beavers have executed a screen to that magnitude for a touchdown.
It certainly is, and Oregon State has been working on that play ever since the end of the regular season. They knew coming in against New Mexico with all the blitzes and the different packages defensively that they presented that there was a great opportunity for the screen pass, and we saw it work to perfection there as Steven Jackson takes it in for the touchdown.
The Beavers leading 7-0. That's your Horizon Air Beaver touchdown recap. Kirk Ilanimi with the ball teed up for the Beavers. New Mexico dropping Dwight Counter, the dangerous one, back a couple of yards deep. Sidney Wiley also there, but it's Counter at the 7. Counter to the 15, to the 20, and down he goes. Great tackle in the open field by Joe Lemma after a 13-yard return out to the 20. The Beavers doing an excellent job in their first kick cover opportunity today. New Mexico will go to work 1st and 10 at its own 20.
Well, Oregon State wants to continue to do that and kick that ball to Brandon Ratcliffe. Counter is very, very dangerous back there. He's ranked in career receiving for New Mexico. He's a senior, and we'll hear more about him as we move through this ball game. But that was Brandon Ratcliffe, who is one of the defensive safeties.
New Mexico goes to work with Casey Kelly, kid out of Westview, 1st and 10 at his own 20, sends a tight end in motion on first down. Play action fake for Kelly, so they throw going against form, and they've got Counter open deep, but it's incomplete down the left sideline. Brandon Browner in coverage, and when I say open, Brandon knew what the situation was, and he had Counter pressed against the sideline, and even though it looked as though Dwight might have had a step on Brandon, the redshirt freshman corner, the Pac-10 freshman of the year, was actually in pretty good shape on the play.
And freshman All-American, by the way. One of the things that New Mexico presents offensively is their receivers are pretty good size. Counter 6'3", 195 pounds. So Brandon Browner at 6'4", that poses a pretty good matchup on the far side.
Bird and Dontrell Moore in the eye behind Kelly. 2nd and 10. Beavers up 7-0, scoring on the first possession of the game. Kelly runs option, pitches right. Moore started right. Jason Jean-Baptiste is there, and he's hammered. Along with Lawrence Turner and Trent Bray for a loss of 4 on Moore's first carry. Back to the 16-yard line. It'll be 3rd and 14 coming up, and Jason Jean-Baptiste, another senior, and he wants to go out on a good note. That's a good start.
That's a great start for Jason Jean-Baptiste, and Siegler was coming on the run blitz that time. He knew coming out of that formation he was looking for Dontrell Moore, and someone really wrapped Ryan Cook, the big offensive center for the Lobos. Cook goes 6'7", 339 pounds. He had to walk over and pick up his helmet. It rolled about 10 yards away.
Dontrell Moore, the lone running back, losing 4 on his first carry. He moves to left halfback. Casey Kelly under center. The Beavers moving around. They're going to run a reverse to Thomas running left. The Beavers trying to string it out and do. Richard Siegler tackles Thomas for no gain, maybe a half yard, and Siegler gets up along with Chaz Scott to celebrate the play. Siegler back in his hometown making a play. It'll be 4th down and 14, a gain of about a half yard. That's a tough play to run against the Beavers speedy D.
It's a tough play to run against the Beavers speedy D, but because of the change in formation at the line of scrimmage, Richard Siegler had started to run way over to his left, and he covered a lot of ground to make it over to get that tackle and stop that attempt for a first down.
Terrence Thomas on the reverse. That's the 3rd carry out of the wide receiver formation for Thomas this year, and he's gained -8 yards, or he lost -8, I should say. He gained 1 there, one of his better plays of the season. Now the Beavers up 7-0, hold New Mexico 3 and out. The punt is away, and not a particularly good one. It bounces near midfield, and in fact will be downed right near the midfield stripe as the punt off the leg of Tyler Goss. Not a good one. So the Beavers, Bob, already up 7-0, will have great field position.
They have terrific field position, and Tyler Goss averaging just 39.5 yards per punt coming into this game on the season. Really shanked that when he got it off the side of his foot, very wobbly, and it's a break for Oregon State.
The Beavers drove the length of the field. The first possession of the game, lead it 7-0, and will have it 1st and 10 at their own 48-yard line, leading 7-0. A timeout on the field, and we'll take one too. Back with more at Sam Boyd Stadium after this on the Beavers Sports Network. Hey, Lee. Lee, can you hear me? Okay, when we have time, we haven't had you on yet. I want to give it, I'm going to throw it to you, just asking you, is there any wind? How does it feel down there? The atmosphere, all of that. Where are you? Which are you?
I see him.
Okay, I got you. Okay. So you can't. Okay. I got. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Yeah, who's talking to me? Yeah. Network. Yeah. Yeah, tell me right away. Yeah, because I didn't see a signal from anybody down there. We're okay. These timeouts are. Back at Sam Boyd Stadium, the 12th annual Las Vegas Bowl off to a terrific start for the Beavers, leading 7-0 and taking over 1st and 10 at their own 48. Lee Jamison in for Michael Convery for this bowl game. Let's send it below to Lee. Lee, how's it feeling down there?
It's a beautiful night for football. Wind is kind of funky, though. If you look at the flag in the northwest corner, the American flag is moving a little, and the flag below it, the Nevada flag, is moving even more. And as you get closer to the field, the windier it gets. If you look at the streamers at the top of the goalpost, they'll swirl right, swirl left. So the wind is swirling, but it's a low swirling wind. Clouds are high. I thought he felt a sprinkle a while back.
We had a little bit, thank you, Lee, a little sprinkle last night as my family walked the strip one last time. An interesting experience, to be sure. The beautiful waters of the Bellagio and the volcano of the Mirage, and very generous folks handing things out to you wherever you walk, too. It's an interesting experience, to be sure. The Beavers up 7-0, 7:59 to go in the first quarter. The Beavers trying to render it ultimately a satisfying experience for the team. They lead at 7-zip and go to work 1st and 10 at the 48. Anderson to throw over the middle. Ewis wide open. The catch into the secondary inside the 30. They'll mark it at the 29-yard line of New Mexico for a gain of a little more than 22 for Tim Ewis, his second big catch on the seam over the middle.
That time with Ewis lined up on the right side, then he changes to the left side in motion, resets, and New Mexico comes with a blitz wide open on the seam. Tim Ewis just straight down the field on that little seam pass, and Derek raises up big. Derek Anderson at 6'5", looking over that defensive line and fires the ball to Ewis for a first down.
Derek Anderson, 5 of 6 for 97 yards here in the first quarter. 7-0 Beavers. Anderson on first down. Fake, play action fake, rolls right, throws underneath to Ewis again. Ewis the catch, and Tim tackled out of bounds right down near where Lee Jamison is stationed down at about the 20-yard line. Gain of about 9 on the play for Tim. We knew, Bob, given the blitzing style, and Tim talked about it in our pregame show, the tight ends, given the way they like to attack defensively, would have a chance to play a big part in this game, and so far it's true.
There's no question about that. Naked bootleg that time. Derek Anderson faking and then coming out to his right side, and Tim Ewis slow blocking out wide open, and Derek delivered the ball.
2nd and 1 from the New Mexico 20. Beavers up 7-0. Trying to take command early. Double tights. Newton and Ewis give it to Jackson. Running right. Stephen off right tackle at the 15 to the 10. First down and goal as he's run out of bounds at the New Mexico 6-yard line. A pickup of 14 for Stephen. And it'll be 1st and goal from the 6-yard line at the right hash mark with 7:29 to go. Good blocking at the point of attack.
Great blocking at the point of attack, and Doug Ninehouse was downfield to help out, as well as Kanan Sanchez. A nice little seam off that right side, and Steven Jackson pounding in there like we've not seen him for a while. He didn't do any dancing at all. He just jumped in that hole and went for it.
Steven Jackson in what could be his final game as an Oregon State Beaver already has a touchdown on the 34-yard screen pass. Would love to get one on the ground. 1st and goal from the 6. Play action fake. Anderson to throw in the back of the end zone, intended for Tim Ewis. It's incomplete. Brandon Payne in coverage for New Mexico. It'll be 2nd and goal from the 6, but again, the Beavers going with the power formation. Ryan Cole, the lead blocker, and Ryan released immediately. I thought he might have been the intended target coming out of the backfield. Bob.
Well, he was open, and I think Derek Anderson could have thrown to him, but he really wanted to go to Ewis. The coverage was there with Brandon Payne, and Derek just stretched the ball, but no way for Ewis to get to it. 2nd
and goal for the Beavers from the New Mexico 6. Right hash mark. Jackson now by himself in the backfield in a double tight end set. Anderson turns, gives it to Jackson off the left side. Jackson is ankle tackled as he drags his way to about the 3-yard line. It'll be 3rd and goal. Marcus Parker wouldn't let Jackson go. They're going to mark it right about the 4, so a gain of 2. 3rd and goal from the 4 coming up.
Marcus Parker playing very well in there in the middle. Got good penetration that time. Just got a piece of Steven Jackson, held onto his ankle enough to bring him down, allowing the rest of the defense to catch up and finally finish him off there.
3rd and goal from the 4. The football in the middle of the field. Derek Anderson under center. Matt Brock. Haas goes in motion. Anderson back to throw. Derek with time. Throws in the back of the end zone and overthrows Mike Haas. It'll be 4th and goal from the 4. And Kirkil Animi, who also has his sights set on a couple of records tonight. One in particular, Troy Busenich, career field goals. Right now, Kirkil Animi is 1 field goal away from tying that all-time mark. And Troy Busenich with 35 career field goals, and Kirkil Animi now 1 shy of equaling Troy Busenich's mark right here. This will be straight down the middle for Kirkil Animi. It'll be a 22-yard attempt straight down the middle, and there it is. That's a record-tying field goal for Kirkil Animi with 6:38 to go in the first quarter. The Beavers get a 1st and goal at the 6, but have to settle for 3. But Kirkil Animi, an amazing career, now 36 of 42 on his career with that field goal. The Beavers lead it 10-0, 6:38 to go in the first quarter. Back with more in the Las Vegas Bowl after this. You're listening to Beaver Football.
Well, it's a decent start.
Yeah. 14 would be a little nicer, but
yeah. I thought Steven Jackson was wide open there because Sidney Wiley was late in getting over there. I think if he'd have gotten the ball to him that last play, if he'd have gotten the ball to him right away, I think he could have avoided the tackle and taken it in.
Yeah.
Please call it.
Yeah, Lee. Yeah. Yeah. It looked like he might have been shoving him down a little. Yeah. Yeah. Beaver Football is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Southwest Airlines offers over 2,700 nonstop daily flights to 59 destinations across the country. Call 1-800-I-FLY-SWA or visit southwest.com today. Well, the Beaver fans enjoying themselves in this 12th annual Las Vegas Bowl early. 6:38 to go in the first quarter. It's been all Oregon State. The Beavers leading 10-0. The Beavers unable to get a touchdown out of the last opportunity in spite of having first and goal from the 6. Gabriel Fulbright dropping back along with Brandon Ratcliffe. Kirk-Ilanimi approaching the ball and is kicking toward Ratcliffe, who comes up to take it at the 11-yard line. Comes up the left sideline and has some room. He's at the 30 to the 35. Hit by Kirk-Ilanimi and finally brought down with penalty flags coming out across midfield into Beaver territory to the 49-yard line. Kirk-Ilanimi, nearly the last line of defense there, Bob, for the Beavers. He's been involved in a number of plays this year when the coverage is broken down and is usually pretty physical when it comes to hauling people down.
He's certainly been good at making that last stop if necessary. He did it again here against Ratcliffe. Ratcliffe doing a good job, and I think when Kirk came over to take him down, he got a little piece of the face mask.
Boy, that's going to set New Mexico up in great field position, too, because of the penalty that Joe Ryder's about to explain.
During the play, personal foul, grasping the face mask on the kicking team. 15 yards from the end of the run, first down.
A 40-yard return for Brandon Ratcliffe, and then the 15 yards marched off against the Beavers and Kirk-Ilanimi. Sets New Mexico up in great field position, down 10-0, and the Lobos needed a lift, and the Beavers' special teams unfortunately provided with a breakdown in coverage. It'll be 1st and 10 for New Mexico at the Beaver 34-yard line. Casey Kelly drops back to throw, swings it in the flat. It's fumbled. Now that could be a fumble. They're going to call it an incomplete forward pass. Bill Swancutt had come up with it. Mark Banker, the defensive coordinator, was immediately saying fumble, fumble. But the official right on the spot, Bob, said that it was an incomplete forward pass, but Swanee was ready to pounce.
Swanee was ready to pounce, but that play was broken up by Jonathan Pollard, and boy, is it great to have him back. High ankle sprain in the Oregon game. He missed all of the USC game, and he made a terrific play by getting over there on Dontrell Moore.
10-0 Beavers, 2nd down and 10 New Mexico at the Oregon State 34-yard line. Terrence Thomas to the left. Split to the right side for the Lobos is Rashawn Sanders. Just one setback. It's Dontrell Moore. Started left. Bounces it outside. He's dangerous. He's chased by Eric Williams and Turner and thrown down by Turner at the 33-yard line. A lot of work for 1 yard. Dontrell Moore started off the left side, then cut it quickly to the right. And the Beaver speed on the outside, very important because Dontrell Moore is capable of turning that into a big play. He settles for 1.5 yards.
Well, he certainly is. Over 1,400 yards on the season, the leading rusher in the Mountain West Conference, 19 touchdowns rushing the football this season.
Good job by Eric Williams and Lawrence Turner. Turner racing across the field to help knock Dontrell Moore down. 3rd down and a long 8. Moore shifts to left halfback. Going in motion is Michael Brunker. They give it to Brunker, looking to throw it back to Kelly. Kelly makes the catch at the 30. He's at the 25, cuts back inside the 20, and Casey Kelly down to the Oregon State 14-yard line. A penalty flag out, 2 of them, in fact, at the end of the play. Richard Siegler was involved with about 4 New Mexico Lobo players. I think New Mexico could be hit for another penalty here, Bob.
I think Robert Turner, the offensive guard, got a shot on Richard Siegler, hit him in the side or in the back, and this will go against New Mexico.
And it is indeed a clip, an illegal block against Siegler, who was in pursuit and was hit from behind. Siegler got up pretty fired up, as you might imagine. I think the 1st down will probably be allowed here because it looked as though the clip occurred after Casey Kelly had moved into 1st down territory. But this will be something for the officials to sort out. The ball had moved to the 14, and my sense is the penalty yardage will be marked off 15 yards from this spot. From the 14-yard line. Here's Joe Ryder, Brian Doyle Murray.
After the play, personal foul. Clipping on the offense. The offense have gotten a 1st down. 15 yards from the end of the run, 1st down.
Hey, and we'll take a break and get a station identification in here as the penalty yardage is marked off. The Beavers leading 10-0. 6:07 to go in the first quarter. Let's pause 10 seconds. Brought to you by the OSU Bookstore. 10 seconds for station identification. You're listening to Beaver Football. OSU football helps bring you, or is brought to you by the OSU Bookstore, the official vendor of OSU Athletics. Our thanks to their sponsorship. As we wind up the 2003 season in the 12th annual Las Vegas Bowl, the penalty yardage takes the football back to the 29. 10-0 Beavers. 5:49 to go in the quarter. Inside handoff to Dontrell Moore, and Richard Siegler grabs him at the ankles, and Moore scoots ahead for a couple of yards to the 27-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 8 at the Oregon State 27. Boy, that was getting back to the play, the razzle-dazzle with the receiver Michael Brunker throwing the football back to Casey Kelly. That's his 2nd reception of the year. The other one went for 24 yards and a touchdown.
It did, and Casey Kelly did a terrific job of actually catching that ball because Brunker just lobbed it over everyone. Casey Kelly had to come back to make the reception.
Bird and Moore in the eye on 2nd down and 8 from the Beaver 27-yard line. 10-0 Oregon State from the eye. Play action fake. Kelly to throw. Has enough time on a corner route. Got a man wide open. Caught. Touchdown New Mexico. On a perfect throw to Hank Baskett on the corner route, and New Mexico right back in the football game.
Well-designed play. It was play pass action. Looked as though Dontrell Moore was going off the right side. Casey Kelly doing a terrific job of faking the ball and then just standing there with it on his waist. No one could see. And, of course, Hank Baskett with a good corner pattern on the backside against Brandon Browner. Wide open. Good throw by Casey Kelly.
Excellent fake, as you said, Bob, by Casey Kelly, because it seemed to slow everything down for half a count for the Beaver defenders. And New Mexico, which was on the verge of a 14-0 deficit, it seemed just a few minutes ago, has cut the Beaver lead to 3 with the point after. And New Mexico is right back in the game thanks to the short field and the penalty. It's now Oregon State 10 and the New Mexico Lobos 7, just a 34-yard drive, but the complexion of the game has changed dramatically here in the desert. 4:59 to go in the first quarter in the Las Vegas Bowl. Beavers 10, Lobos 7 on the Beaver Sports Network.
Oh, my God, you could see that coming because we were at a good angle to see the fake.
Yeah.
And I could see him out of the corner of my eye, and I went, oh.
Did Brandon just get sucked into the fake? I mean,
yeah, he took him inside pretty well and then just came out of it. Brandon thought it was a run. What he did is he came down and faked like he was blocking and brought him inside, and then it just turned out.
Yeah. Well, what about it? Oh, did he really? No, okay. Yeah. Back at the Las Vegas Bowl, it's the Beavers 10, New Mexico 7. Brandon Browner doesn't get beat very often, but Lee Jamison, who's down on the sidelines. Lee, you had a sense that something was coming just based on how aggressively Brandon is playing the game tonight, huh?
Yeah, Brandon is really amped up. The play before the touchdown, Dwight Counter came out, was running a streak down the sideline. Brandon knocked him out of bounds, knocked him all the way into the signs, and then fell on him on the signs. The back judge had to come over and pull him apart. The next play, Brandon saw what he thought was a running play, went flying up, but as you know, he got beat deep.
Actually, the receiver came down and faked like he was blocking on Brandon, and Brandon powered right through him, and then the receiver just went downfield, back out to the corner, wide open for Casey Kelly.
The momentum has shifted tremendously in the last few plays, going back to the Beavers at 1st and goal of the 6 and not able to take a 2-touchdown advantage, and then the ensuing kickoff after the Ilanimi field goal, giving New Mexico the short field, and they score 5 plays later. And now Harvey Witten receives the kick 1 yard deep, comes to the 10, to the 15. Witten makes one-man miss, goes ahead to the 21-yard line, and that's all. The Beavers will have it 1st and 10 at the 21, leading 10-7 with 4:53 to go in the quarter. The encouraging thing, Bob, for the Beavers offensively is the start that Derek Anderson is off to.
There's no question about that. And let's keep in mind that offensive line is doing a good job of blocking for Derek, because New Mexico has been coming 2 or 3 times already in this game. They've had 9 in the box, only just the corners on the outside taking on the outside wide receivers. So if they can continue to pick up those blitzes, we can look for Derek to go downfield here sometime in the first half.
Cole Clayson in the game at a slot inside of Newsom. Mike Hass flank right. Tim Ewis shifts from the right to the left side. Steven Jackson also shifts, moving in motion to the left. Anderson to throw underneath for Ewis, and it's incomplete. He overthrew Timmy by a little bit, and in coverage was Terrell Golden, 5'10" senior out of Los Angeles, on Tim Ewis. So it'll be 2nd down and 10. An important series here in the game in terms of keeping the momentum in the Oregon State camp. Right now it's shifted.
Yeah, it has shifted. And Oregon State, if they could pick up a first down or two, could obviously change that momentum. On the last play, Ewis just hooking to the outside, and Terrell Golden was driving on him inside. Derek threw the ball too wide.
Ewis lines up at a wing to the left, now goes in motion through the formation on 2nd and 10. The Beavers run right with Jackson, breaks one tackle, churns his way out to about the 23-yard line. And it's a gain of maybe 1.5. Not much there for Steven, who did have a nice run in his last series. But Steven Jackson, finding it very slow going, now has carried the ball 7 times for 12 yards, and the Beavers will look at a 3rd and 9 from their own 22.
Well, this 3-3-5 defense turns into a lot of different defenses. That time, Sidney Wiley coming up off the corner came around the edge, and Steven Jackson had to break that attempted tackle in the backfield before he got to the line of scrimmage.
10-7 Beavers, 3rd and 9 from their own 22. Derek Anderson under center, Matt Brock from the right hash. And Hass in motion, throwing for Hass, and the ball is incomplete and nearly intercepted. And that might have gone to the house if the cornerback, Gabriel Fulbright, had been able to hang on to the ball. Hass on the out, and Gabriel Fulbright read it well, stepped in front of Mike, and nearly picked it and took it back. It'll be 4th and 9. Anderson has now missed his last 4 passes.
Fulbright is the leading interceptor on this New Mexico team. He had 4 in the regular season coming in. Got a great drive inside on Mike Hass. Hass was running an out pattern, a deep out, trying to pick up the first down. Fulbright was there to break it up.
And the Beavers are fortunate that Fulbright didn't hang on for his 5th interception of the year. It's 4th and 9. Carl Tobey in punt formation. Dan Rothwell back at snapper, bounces it to Tobey. Carl makes a good catch, gets the end-over-end kick away, and the ball goes out of bounds, providing great field position for New Mexico at its own 45-yard line. The Beavers have had all sorts of problems, as you know, in special teams this year, Bob, and another one there averted by Tobey making a good catch off this artificial turf.
Dan Rothwell has been out for 3 or 4 weeks with an arch injury and just coming back, and they desperately needed him to deep snap, and that time he just didn't get enough on it. He had good velocity, but the ball was too low. Carl Tobey, who in many regards has been the best player on the team this year in that he's had to handle all of those snaps that have been on the ground, did a good job of picking it up and getting the ball away.
Nevertheless, New Mexico with great field position again, beginning this drive, 1st and 10 at the 45. Beavers leading 10-7. Thomas in motion. Kelly fakes the ball to Thomas. Now fires deep down the left sideline. Brandon Browner in coverage with Counter, and it's incomplete. Counter and Browner together down the left sideline, step for step. It'll be 2nd down and 10. There's a penalty flag down back at the line of scrimmage, and the linesman is pointing to Oregon State's direction. Jason Jean-Baptiste, perhaps the guilty party. We'll see now with Joe Ryder making the call.
We'll wave off the flag. There was no ineligible downfield.
Okay, thank you, Joe. No ineligible downfield. 2nd and 10 coming up.
Well, that's good. Joe is interesting. You certainly, he enunciates. You get the message. That time, Brandon Browner in single coverage, doing a good job against Counter. Counter just running the go pattern, gave him a little inside move, got outside, looked as though he was open, but Brandon Browner with good closing speed turned and got back into play.
New Mexico without its leading receiver, Adrian Boyd, who did not make the trip. That's a big loss because he also carried the ball 20 times, had 41 receptions. A slot to the left, 2nd and 10 for New Mexico. The Beavers leading 10-7. Back to throw goes Casey Kelly. Pressure comes. Kelly's going to tuck it and run. He's at midfield, and down he goes under Brandon Browner's watch at the Beaver 49. A gain of 6. It'll be 3rd down and 4. Kelly's making some good decisions here tonight, Bob, in this Las Vegas Bowl. Very heady quarterback, and he picked the right time to give up on the pass play. The pocket was collapsing, and he gets 6 out of it.
Casey Kelly out of Westview High School in Portland did a good job. It looked as though he was going to be sacked there because there was tremendous pressure on him. The pocket had broken down. He did a good job of avoiding the attempted tackles and getting outside to his left and picking up the 6 yards.
Alvin Smith in at one of the defensive tackles alongside of Dwan Edwards, Swanee, and Jason Jean-Baptiste at the ends. 3rd down and 4 from the Beaver 49. They run the draw inside, and Trent Bray is right there to tackle the running back for a loss. For D.D. Cox, Spelling Moore is tackled at midfield for a loss of a yard. It'll be 4th down and 5.
Both of these running backs in the game struggling. Steven Jackson with a touchdown on the screen pass, but not able to rush the ball real effectively yet. And Dontrell Moore, who comes into the game with over 1,400 yards, now with minus yardage rushing the ball. He's got 3 carries for minus 1 yard so far early in the game.
Dropping back to receive the punt, standing at his 10-yard line, Cole Clayson, 2:23 and clock running to go in the first quarter. The Beavers leading 10-7. The snap on target, and Goss gets his kick away. Cole Clayson calls for a fair catch and makes it. Good decision at the 12-yard line rather than letting the ball bounce and risk having the ball down inside the 10. Tyler Goss with the kick, and the Beavers leading 10-7 will try to get regrouped offensively. They were off to a hot start. Their first 2 drives, taking the first one back for a touchdown and the second for a field goal. But Derek's missed his last 4 passes, and the Beavers need to get back in sync.
Well, they certainly do, and it's going to be very interesting to see the play calling here for Oregon State, because with New Mexico having Oregon State backed up in their own territory this deep, they're going to be willing to gamble a little more. So the offensive line is really going to have to make sure they pick up the blitzes, and Oregon State could get a big play in this kind of a situation.
Dwight Wright spelling Steven Jackson. Play action to Wright. Hitch pass to Newsom. Newsom takes it upfield to the 15, to the 20, outside to the 25. Straight arm at the 30, and down he goes at about the 35-yard line. The second time tonight that the Beavers have gone to the quick hitch to James and just let the strong presence of James Newsom take over. It's a gain of about 24 out to the 35-yard line.
Quick screen out to the side of the field right in front of New Mexico's bench, and you are absolutely right. James Newsom with that strength just powering up inside. Brandon Ratcliffe finally making the tackle.
And he may be very close with that to breaking his own single season record for receiving yardage in a campaign. 1st and 10 Beavers leading 10-7 at the 35. Anderson to throw deep for Haas. Mike is open and it's incomplete at the 30-yard line. Mike Haas with an excellent route and appeared to be open, Bob, as he made the good move to the inside, then went on the streak down the sideline. And Derek Anderson unfortunately misfiring because Mike Haas did an excellent job to get the step on the cornerback on the far sideline.
We just talked about the potential for a big play in this situation with those blitzes coming like that, and single coverage in the secondary, and Fulbright was over there in coverage. Mike Haas put a terrific move on him inside, froze him, got behind him, but Derek a little long on the throw.
2nd and 10 for the Beavers at their own 35, leading 10-7, 1:42 to go in the first quarter in the Las Vegas Bowl on this Christmas Eve. Anderson back to throw. Over the middle to a wide open George Gillette. We haven't heard from George in a long time. He makes the catch and goes down at about the 44-yard line. Gain of nearly 7. It'll be 3rd down and 3. There's a forgotten name, Bob, but Gillette, they've been throwing to him a lot in practice getting ready for the Vegas Bowl, and it pays off for his 6th catch of the year.
Makes a nice reception, and Derek Anderson with a good throw there. Under pressure, he had Kyle Coulter, the nose tackle, coming in on him, along with Nick Spiegel, one of the linebackers who was blitzing.
3rd down, a long 2 for the Beavers at their own 43-yard line. Ewis at a wing to the right. Going in motion is Haas. Play action fake. A reverse to Newsom. James will get the first down. Not much more, but he has the first out to his own 47-yard line, picking up about 4 yards. The Beavers were working on that, too, in practice this week. Of course, when you run a reverse, you hope to spring a big play. I wouldn't be surprised to see James throw the ball out of that type of play sometime tonight.
We've seen him do that once. He's got a pretty good arm now. His best throw of the season might have been at USC when he threw the ball in the stands. But, you know, with this New Mexico defense keying on Steven Jackson, Derek Anderson comes out of there and fakes that handoff and then just hands it off to Newsom coming back on the backside, and the defense had collapsed enough for Newsom to pick up the first down.
His first carry of the season results in a first down, a gain of 4. The Beavers at their own 47. Anderson to throw to Dwight Wright, releasing out of the backfield. Wright gets a good angle. Wright is knocked down into New Mexico territory, very close to the first down at the Lobo 42. Clock running down. That may have been our final play of the first quarter. But Dwight Wright coming out of the backfield for just his third catch of the season. The Beavers very close to the first down, and in fact, Joe Ryder wants to bring the chains out. That's another nice little wrinkle, Bob, with Wright releasing out of the backfield.
No question, and just a little circle route inside, wide open because of the area vacated by the linebackers blitzing up inside. Derek Anderson hanging in there, throwing that ball, and Kenny Farley with a good block downfield, allowing Dwight Wright to pick up the yardage, and it appears to me as though he has the first down.
Indeed, Dwight Wright picking up the first down on the circle route out of the backfield. Anderson a good throw. The Beavers leading 10-7 with 20 seconds to go in the first quarter here at the Las Vegas Bowl. Mike Parker with Bob Grimm and Lee Jamison down on the sidelines. We'll see if the Beavers will get a playoff. They're in huddle now as the clock starts, and it looks as though they will. 1st and 10 at the New Mexico 42-yard line. Steven Jackson back in the game. Kenny Farley lined up as a tight end on the left side. On first down, give it to Jackson, who throws it back to Anderson on the flea flicker, looking for Haas. Mike makes the catch! Touchdown, Beavers! A flea flicker, and the Beavers take command on a 42-yarder, and a great bit of razzle-dazzle. It's the first time we've seen a flea flicker this year, and it goes for a touchdown to Mike Haas.
One of the things that Mike Riley said coming into this game is we're going to be prepared and we're going to have fun, and they are really opening up the playbook. That was just a terrific play. It certainly faked out that entire secondary of New Mexico, and Haas, wide open, makes the reception, takes it in for the score.
Haas was open, but Derek Anderson delivered the ball perfectly. What a great throw. The extra point attempt is good by Kirk Ilanimi, and the Beavers have used a screen pass for a touchdown, a split end reverse to gain a first down. Dwight Wright circling out of the backfield. George Gillette on a little curl route, and now a flea flicker for 42 and a touchdown. And with the first quarter coming to an end on that play, at the end of one in the Las Vegas Bowl, it's the Beavers 17, New Mexico 7. We go to the second quarter on this Christmas Eve next on the Beavers Sports Network. Okay.
Oh, that was a big play. It was a great throw. Yeah, you could see it. He was open. I mean, there was no question. They brought him all the way across the field.
There's Haas in motion this way and then went back over. Well, they really have. I mean, the offensive game plan is perfect so far, isn't it? I mean, they're just.
Or was it the rest of the year? I mean, it's more creative than I know.
I'm sure we're going to hear that.
Yeah. Well, we're just getting.
Well, I guess in a exotic city like Las Vegas, Nevada, you might as well have an exotic playbook. Certainly very creative and imagination shown by Mike Riley, Paul Christ, all the offensive coaches, and the Beavers have executed the game plan perfectly. An offense lead at 17-7 after one quarter. Let's go below to Lee Jamison. Lee.
How about that? Derek Anderson to Steven Jackson, back to Derek Anderson to Mike Haas for the trifecta in Las Vegas. Hey, one other thing. Mike Haas, the question's been answered. Earlier this week, he couldn't practice because he had that high ankle sprain. He's been wide open twice. He's ignoring the pain and playing sensationally. Jonathan Pollard's ankle, he's still playing too, playing hard.
Thank you, Lee. He's absolutely right, Bob. Haas was hobbling around earlier this week in practice. I noticed, he would make plays and then afterwards hobble over to the sideline over at the UNLV practice fields. That kid's a gamer because he's able to make the plays. He pays a price for it, but what a beautiful play there.
Oh, that was a terrific play, and you're right. But with the ankle sprain like that, you can gut it out during the play. You can get yourself down the field. You can make the plays, but then the pain catches up to you in between. You're not thinking about it so much when you're trying to execute the play, and that was terrific execution on that particular pass play. Derek Anderson now 10 of 15, 188 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That now gives him 24 touchdowns on the season. He needs just one more to tie his record-setting year of a year ago when he had 25 touchdowns.
Mike Haas on the receiving end. What a year Mike has had, leading the Pac-10 in yards per reception, and he's just added to it. He was averaging 24.3 yards prior to that. Had 8 catches for 208 yards against USC. That was his first catch. It was the home run for 42 on the flea flicker, and the Beavers, after one quarter, leading 17-7. Ratcliffe and counter await Kirk Ilanimi's kick into this Las Vegas night. Coming up to get it is Counter at the 5 to the 10. Had a big return as last time. Gets across the 20. And down he goes here at about the 24 in the grasp of Ryan Cole. New Mexico with a 1st and 10 at its 24-yard line. Trailing 17-7 as we open the second quarter.
Oregon State doing a good job in coverage. Kirk Ilanimi kicked that ball very high, almost to the goal line. Dwight Counter took it straight up the field, and Ryan Cole coming in covering, making the tackle.
It's time for the Horizon Air Beaver touchdown recap, brought to you by Horizon Air, wings of the great Northwest. The Beavers, a brilliant drive, their 2nd touchdown drive of the game, capped by the 42-yard flea flicker touchdown pass from Derek Anderson to Mike Hass to give the Beavers a 17-7 lead. That's your Horizon Air Beaver touchdown recap. The backs in the I formation on 1st down. Dontrell Moore has nowhere to go. Swan cut, Chaz Scott, Jonathan Pollard, all right there on the gang tackle with Richard Siegler at the bottom of the pile. No gain for Dontrell Moore. And Siegler and Pollard are indeed fired up. At the bottom of the pile, though, sort of the unheralded, unsung guy playing his final game as a Beaver, the great Dwan Edwards.
Yeah, 2nd-team All-Pac-10 player, and Dwan Edwards really got good penetration underneath. You're right, he was the last one out of that pile, but it is terrific to have Jonathan Pollard back after a game and 3/4 absence with that high ankle sprain. He was in there to help break that up.
2nd down, a long 9 for Casey Kelly, the kid out of Westview High. Moore remains by himself in the backfield. Terrence Thomas in motion. They fake it to Thomas, run option to Moore, running right. Moore is able to slip ahead for a few yards. A good job by Moore because he was surrounded by the Beavers in their black pants, white jerseys with the black numerals and orange trim, and taking it for about 3 or 3.5 yards. Dontrell Moore, he showed some shiftiness there, Bob, because he was surrounded by Beavers. He gains 4. It'll be 3rd down and 6 coming up.
He did a great job of just being patient. He had a lot of defenders in front of him, a couple of little jukes, and he was able to slide through 2 attempted tackles to pick up the yardage.
3rd down and 6 for New Mexico from its 28-yard line, right hash mark. The Beavers leading 17-7 early in the second quarter at the Las Vegas Bowl. An offset eye, Terrence Thomas in motion through the formation. Kelly to throw, the blitz coming, and the Beavers got him on the sack. Back at the 20-yard line. Richard Siegler, Chaz Scott on the backer blitz, and New Mexico will have to punt as they lose 8 yards on the sack. 4th down and 14 coming up.
Oregon State really putting the pressure on there with the blitz, and Casey Kelly did not have time to get set as he went back. It was a 5-step drop. He was trying to set up, but Richard Siegler, coming on that middle backer blitz, was there to take him down.
And Chaz Scott will actually be credited for his first sack as an Oregon State Beaver. 6'2", 228-pound sophomore. Chaz Scott with Siegler bringing the heat on Casey Kelly. And with the Beavers leading 17-7, 4th and 14, New Mexico has to punt again. The snap is on target. Cole Clayson watches a high spiral. He'll let it bounce, and it goes out of bounds at the 40-yard line of Oregon State. Good field position for the Beavers, who are controlling this football game. Save for a special teams breakdown that led to a short field touchdown for New Mexico. The Beavers have had their way here in the Las Vegas Bowl with 12:26 to go in the first half. The Beavers leading the New Mexico Lobos 17-7. A timeout on the field, and we'll take one too in the desert. Back with more in the second quarter after this. You're listening to Beaver Football. Thank you. No, that's good. Yeah, the more the better, Travis. It doesn't really bother me. No, it's good. Thank you. Well, I tell you, take this one in, Bob. Take this one down and in. You're in good shape.
Yeah.
I mean,
you're in better shape.
Yeah, but I mean, it just seems like they would have a hard
them, yeah.
time coming back with their offense.
Well, what you're going to see is if we can continue to do things like this, then Steven Jackson can start running in the second half, because these guys will get a little bit tired and they'll get dejected if they get down, and then he can start picking up some yardage. They were so amped at the beginning of the game that it cost them 2 penalties.
It did. It gave us a chance to keep that first drive going. Pretty breezy.
It is a little breezy. The flag's kind of standing out.
Happy Christmas Eve, everybody. Hope you're enjoying the holidays with your family. A lot of citizens from Beaver Nation making the trip down here to Vegas and enjoying what they see so far. 17-7, Oregon State in front. First and 10 Beavers at their own 40 with 12:27 to go in the first half. Beaver football is brought to you by Les Schwab. Les Schwab Tire Centers with over 350 locations. Proud to offer a network of protection while you travel throughout the West. When you come in, they come running. At Les Schwab, they appreciate your business. An important stand right here, Bob, for New Mexico's defense. I mean, the Beavers have controlled the football game. We mentioned the one special teams breakdown and ensuing penalty that led to the short field TD. Other than that, New Mexico has not had a breath, really.
No, they really haven't, but both of these defenses have done a great job against two fine running backs. Steven Jackson ranked number 12 in the country coming in. Dontrell Moore ranked number 11. Jackson now with just 12 yards and 7 carries.
The breeze is picking up a little bit here at Sam Boyd Stadium. We'll send it below to Lee for a report in a moment. The Beavers run. Jackson breaks a tackle outside of the 45, straight arm at midfield, and then is shoved late on the near of the left sideline by Sidney Wiley. Jackson with the toughest 8 yards I think maybe he's gotten based on the first hit that he received in the backfield.
Well, he was hit 3 yards deep in the backfield and just bounced through that, off and through the attempted tackle, and then came off the right side and was run out of bounds right in front of Rocky Long.
That is Steven Jackson at his very best, and if indeed he takes his great act to the NFL next season, which we suspect he will, going to miss seeing that, Bob. There's very few in the history of the Pac-10 that run the way he does.
No, there's just not that many players with his size and speed.
2nd and 2. Jackson gets the handoff, bounces it outside to the left. Jackson has the first down. Again, another big hit, and he's run out of bounds after picking up the first down at the New Mexico 42-yard line. He gains about 8 more. In fact, they're going to give him 10 on the play. Steven Jackson, who was off to a slow start, has back-to-back carries yielding 18 yards, and he's delivering, as usual, the blows.
Well, and the one thing that Steven Jackson loves is if he can get around the corner and get to a secondary position, he just loves those defensive backs to come up and attempt to tackle him. That time it was Billy Struther coming from his linebacker position, but Steven Jackson with a great stiff arm picking up another 4 yards on the far side of the field.
Jackson running right and left. Has picked up a first down at the New Mexico 41. Derrick appears to be changing the play as he comes under center Matt Brock. Beavers up 17-7. He gives it off to Jackson, and Steven dives ahead inside the 40 to about the 38-yard line. A gain of 3 for Jackson over left guard. It'll be 2nd down and 7. Clock running, under 12 to go in the half. 17-7. The Beavers have been throwing it effectively. Now New Mexico is getting a heavy dose of the El Dorado kid.
Of Steven Jackson. And, you know, that's a great game plan because Oregon State knew that New Mexico would really be attacking and trying to stop Steven Jackson. So they came with some trick plays through the football. Now Steven Jackson being more effective rushing the football.
Farley at a slot inside of Newsom to the short side of the field to the left with the blitz coming. Over the middle to Ewis. Tim makes the catch, then he lowers the shoulder and gets down to the 31-yard line. Just a little bit short of the first down and a gain of 6. But you can hear the Beaver fans at Sam Boyd Stadium oohing and awing and appreciating the efforts that we've seen on this series. Jackson twice punishing would-be tacklers, and Ewis did the same right there.
Well, the blitz was on, and Derek Anderson went right to his tight end, Tim Ewis, just a quick release over the middle, and it was Sidney Wiley coming up from his safety position to make that tackle, and Tim Ewis just powered right through that attempted tackle.
3rd down and a yard for the Beavers from the New Mexico 32-yard line. The Beavers are going to need to call a timeout here because the 25-second play clock was counting down and the Beavers were not getting the right personnel in. Jeremy Weldon will be in as part of a power formation when we come back. 3rd down and a yard from the New Mexico 32. A timeout on the field, and we'll take one too. The Beavers leading New Mexico 17-7, 10:50 to go in the first half in the Las Vegas Bowl on the Beavers Sports Network. You see Farley talking to Ratcliffe over there, Bob? Are you watching that?
No, I didn't see it.
You got Delvon Alexander trying to get in. The Beavers leading New Mexico 17-7. Watching the Beaver sideline, Kenny Farley engaging in some fairly heated dialogue, it appears, with Brandon Ratcliffe, one of the corners for New Mexico, to the point that Delvon Alexander was actually looking for an official to come in and try to at least eavesdrop on that conversation. New Mexico's emotions have not served them well in this football game, Bob.
No, they have not, Mike. Early in the game, they were so amped up to stop Steven Jackson, they ended up with 2 big penalties on Oregon State's opening drive that resulted in a score for Oregon State. And then a couple of trick plays, and now it's loosened things up a little bit. There's some seams in there for the running game, and Steven Jackson has picked up a few more yards. He's now, just in this last drive, he's got 3 carries for 25 yards.
Ratcliffe is talking to the entire Beaver sideline, it seems now. There's a lot of laughter going on and smiles, but some of the Beaver red shirts who aren't playing in the game, Ratcliffe continues to engage in dialogue. Jason Lowe, one of the injured players, Lowe and Ratcliffe talking. Lowe's pointing a lot of things out. So there's a little war within the battle here at Sam Boyd Stadium. Lee Jamison, are you picking up on any of that at all?
Oh, yeah, Ratcliffe's trying to talk over here to the Oregon State sideline, but the funny part is he's got a dark face shield, so he's over here and all you see is his mouth moving. You can't see anything, and you can't see his eyes. So it's kind of like wasted motion.
3rd down and 1 for the Beavers. Back to the real game. Offset eye, Ryan Cole vacates the backfield and goes in motion. 3rd and 1 from the New Mexico 32. Jackson has the first down over right guard, powering his way to the 30. Kanan Sanchez, who led the blocking, loses his helmet in the process, but it's 2 tough yards and a Beaver first down. And back to the real game, as we mentioned, Bob, but the other one pretty entertaining, too, with Jason Lowe continuing. He's not in this game, having undergone reconstructive surgery, but it's entertaining sometimes to watch some of the side action here in Vegas.
It really is. There's a lot going on in this game, and on the play, Steven Jackson doing a good job of just taking it up the middle to pick up the first down. It was Kyle Coulter, the nose tackle, who made the stop.
17-7 Beavers, 10.5 to go in the first half. U.S. comes in motion through the formation. Derek Anderson rolling right, looks back over the middle and throws to Haas, who makes the catch. Tackled immediately at the 23-yard line. Brandon Payne, the tackle, a gain of 6 for Haas, his second reception. Good job by Derek, showing some mobility there, rolling out and then finding Haas in a little bit of a seam over the middle. It'll be 2nd down and 4.
Again, a good game plan by Oregon State, moving Derek Anderson around instead of just dropping back and setting up in those 3- and 5-step drops. They're moving him on half rolls, that time rolling to his right side, allowing himself plenty of time to make that short throw to Haas with the blitz coming.
The Beavers have a bunch to the left with Newsom and Haas. Now U.S. goes in motion from the right hash mark. Play action boot underneath, caught by U.S. That's his 5th of the day. First down inside the 20 to the New Mexico 19-yard line. Tim Ewis making the reception on the boot play that the Beavers have used successfully often over the years. But again, Derek just looked, we talked a lot about his maturation as a quarterback, and we're seeing more signs of it tonight.
We certainly are, and we're seeing a great game from Tim Ewis, who made the All-Pac-10 first team. He now has 5 catches for 56 yards in the game.
And Ewis with 47 catches on the year. James Newsom moves at a slot inside of Haas to the far of the left sideline. Ewis and Newton in as double tights. Ewis at a wing to the right. From the right hash mark at the New Mexico 18. Derek Anderson back to throw. Has time. Throws. And it's caught down at the 4-yard line. Big Joe Newton making the catch. It'll be 1st and goal to go coming up after a gain of 14 to the 4. And with Tim Ewis getting ready to move on to the next level, Bob, Joe Newton has had a good year this year. That's his 13th catch. But I think in terms of 45 to 50 catches for a tight end, Joe Newton's going to be the guy going forward.
That was a terrific catch from a tight end. That big body of Joe Newton, 6'7", 252 pounds. He shielded off the strong safety that time, Sidney Wiley, and then reached out and made that catch with his hands. It was a terrific catch.
And a good throw again by Derek Anderson, over 200 yards passing in the first half. The Beavers with a bunch to the left on 1st and goal from the 4. They run Jackson left, breaks a tackle, and powers his way in. Touchdown Beavers! Another gold rush for the El Dorado kid back in his hometown. And the Beavers lead it 23-7. The Beavers loaded up, Bob, on that left side with the bunch, with Ewis and Newton as part of it. And Steven Jackson ran that way, had to break one tackle, and then when he got to the goal line, nobody has a better nose for the end zone than Steven.
There's no question about that. He had to break the tackle 3 yards deep in the backfield, and then it was Sidney Wiley who came up and got a hold of him at the 2-yard line, but Steven was able to power through that and stretch into the end zone.
Kirk Ilanimi with the point after, and with 8:40 to go in the first half in the 12th annual Las Vegas Bowl, it's the Beavers 24 and New Mexico 7. Back with the Oregon State kickoff after this on the Beaver Sports Network.
Come back. You ready, Jamie?
Missy's over there reading Silas Marner, the novel.
Pardon?
I can see my wife. She's reading a novel.
Oh.
Not a big football fan. What's that?
I just wrote Jackson's drive totals, but overall he's...
Where's that? What did...
It's on the drive summary.
5 carries, 32 yards on the drive. How many for the day?
44.
Okay, thank you. Okay, that's all right. It's time for the Horizon Air Beaver touchdown recap, brought to you by Horizon Air, wings of the Great Northwest. The Beavers go 60 yards in 9 plays, taking 3 minutes 47 seconds off the clock, and it was primarily Steven Jackson, although Derek Anderson made good throws en route to Mike Hass, Tim Ewis, and Joe Newton. Joe in particular setting the Beavers up at touchdown's door with an excellent catch. But Steven Jackson carrying the ball 5 times for 32 yards on the drive. Now 12 carries for 40 yards on the evening. Derek Anderson was 4 for 4 on the drive. The Beavers 9 plays, 60 yards. Steven Jackson a 4-yard touchdown run. Jackson getting his second touchdown of the game, his first rushing. Steven, who leads all position players in scoring in the Pac-10 Conference, now has 19 touchdowns. 20 touchdowns on the season. The Beavers with a 24-7 lead with 8:40 to go in the first half. Kirk Ilanimi kicking the ball away. Ratcliffe and Fulbright back there. Fulbright comes up the middle. The cornerback gets to the 20, to the 25. Penalty flags down as he gets out to about the 28-yard line. 25-yard return for Gabriel Fulbright, but there are flags, and we'll check them out here in a moment. As we wait for Joe Ryder to give us the call, it's going to be a hold against New Mexico. Let's send things down below to Lee Jamison. Jamie?
Let's continue the Brandon Ratcliffe saga. On the Steven Jackson touchdown, Steven was across the goal line. Brandon dove in late, tried to rip the ball from him. Steven finally let the ball go. Brandon rolled over and gave him a little elbow to the chest. So Brandon Ratcliffe for New Mexico was really amped up. He's the Lobo player. Maybe they ought to change that B to a C. He's a little football loco right now. What do you think?
Well, you're absolutely right. And, that's at this point, Bob, that's what New Mexico has had to resort to. They're still in this game, but I think this is an important possession for their offense right here.
There's no question. If Oregon State can shut them down here in this possession, it will really demoralize this New Mexico team.
8:33 to go in the half. 24-7 Beavers, and Casey Kelly for the first time tonight operates out of shotgun in an empty backfield as they go to a 5-wide receiver set. Very unusual for Rocky's offense. Out of the shotgun, Kelly pressured and runs and does a good job to get out across the 20 to about the 22-yard line. A pickup of about 4 for Casey Kelly. The Beavers bringing heat immediately from the front 4, and Kelly got what he could at 2nd and 6.
A design play. That was a quarterback draw. Just spread the field out. Casey Kelly, with running ability, takes it up the middle, and Jason Jean-Baptiste did a terrific job of falling back from his defensive end position to get one ankle and drag him down.
8 minutes to go in the half. A 17-point Oregon State lead. 2nd down and 6 for New Mexico at its own 22-yard line. And coming to the line of scrimmage, Casey Kelly doesn't like what he sees. He turned and looked at Dontrell Moore and decided to take a timeout. So we'll take 1-2 with 7:53 to go in the half in Las Vegas. It's the Beavers 24, New Mexico 7. And we'll be back with more second quarter action in New Mexico after this. You're listening to Beaver Football. Okay, that was break 9, Tim. Okay, yeah.
That's yours.
That is mine.
Yeah,
you haven't. Oh, okay.
For you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, with TV games and all that, I mean, we're. Yes, Lee. Is that right, Tim? Do you have a sheet there that tells you how much we have at halftime, Tim? Hey, welcome back to Sam Boyd Stadium in Las Vegas. The Beavers leading New Mexico 24-7 in the 12th annual Las Vegas Bowl with 7:53 to go in the first half. New Mexico taking a timeout. We'll have it 2nd down and 6. Both teams have expended a timeout. New Mexico at its own 22-yard line. The Beavers with a real chance right here. I mean, they're already in control of it, but you get a sense that another stop and another score, and it's going to be a long night, as it already has been for Rocky Long's football team. This is critical for their offense to try to stay in the game psychologically, it seems.
Well, there's no question about that, Mike. And with just 7:53 left in the second quarter, Oregon State has had a phenomenal quarter and a half here, leading 24-7.
They switched to an I formation with a fullback after the timeout. Dontrell Moore has been bottled up. The Beavers with a 4-man front, and they'll run an option to the left. 2 more, fumbles the football. It's on the carpet, but I think Dontrell was able to fall. No, the Beavers got it. Chaz Scott on the recovery for the Beavers. The option after the timeout. A very dangerous play, and a team that has not turned it over the last few weeks, just won in their last 3 games, puts it on the rug here at Sam Boyd Stadium. The Beavers disrupting the option with Swanee on the pitch man, and Chaz Scott able to reel the ball in.
He was very fortunate to get it. It was there, and Dontrell Moore tried to come right over the top of him and get the ball back, but Chaz Scott doing a terrific job of recovering that muffed pitch, and now the complexion of this game can really change if Oregon State can stick this one in the end zone for a touchdown.
7:47 to go in the half, and the Beavers take over at the New Mexico 16, leading 24-7, and Derek Anderson will operate out of shotgun. Cole Clayson goes in motion. Anderson from the gun to throw, gets it to Jackson in the right flat. Jackson goes airborne, does a somersault and goes out of bounds at the 11-yard line. It's a gain of only 4 to the 11, or they'll mark it at just inside the 11 for about 5. Jackson with the catch. Boy, he went high into the air, Bob, hurdling a blocker and a defender, and good to see him pop up okay after that flip.
Well, he was fine. He did do a flip, but Steven Jackson is having fun. He wanted desperately to have a good game here. He's gone 2 games in a row now without going over 100 yards rushing, and he is having some fun out there, that time going high over the defenders to pick up the yardage.
3 catches for 46 yards for Jackson. He goes off right tackle. He's at the 5, and Jackson dives it again. Touchdown Beavers. Steven Jackson again from 11 yards out, and the Beavers lead it 30-7. What a show Steven Jackson is putting on back in his hometown, where it appears he's in the process of wrapping up his sensational collegiate career, and now he's getting lifted by a teammate, being carried off the field as he heads toward the Oregon State sideline. A penalty flag will be thrown as a result of that celebration. Steven Jackson getting on James Newsom's back, and James carrying Steven out of bounds. It'll be an unsportsmanlike celebration penalty.
15 yards.
You know, the officials have to call that. Joe Ryder has to call it. It was Steven Jackson on the back of James Newsom, the receiver. But I would love to see the NCAA change that rule. Taunting, I totally agree with. If players are taunting the other team, then I think they should be penalized. But if they're just celebrating and having fun, it's an emotional game. I think they should let them do it. I would love to see the NCAA change the rule.
To be penalized on the try or the kickoff, be penalized on the kickoff.
So the football had already been taken back to the 13. It'll be taken back to the 3-yard line. And Kirk Ilanimi will attempt the routine extra point here with the Beavers leading 30-7. And quite honestly, Joe Ryder threw the flag reluctantly. I mean, it was one of those things that he saw it. And it's like, well, okay, I got to call this.
He did, and he had to call it because it was so flagrant. I mean, James Newsom carried Steven Jackson about 10 yards.
The extra point is good by Ilanimi, and with 7:01 to go in the half, it's a celebration for Steven Jackson coming back to his hometown. He has 3 touchdowns, 2 rushing, 1 receiving. It's the Beavers 31 and New Mexico 7. Back with the Oregon State kickoff after this on the Beavers Sports Network. Hey, are you writing down the drives and how they finish and all that? So you've got a drive sheet for me. Can I see it for a second? The scoring drives. You have a separate sheet. Yeah, like at the end, if you can move to one side of the sheet, the scoring drives. Okay. Yeah. Is that Jack? That is his 3rd, not his 4th touchdown.
One receiving,
okay.
2 rushing.
And who's got the other? The other touchdown. Pass has the other. At the half, if you just have the scoring drives broken down on a separate sheet, and then at the end of the game, too, that's a good thing to have for me to go through. Thank you. Back at Sam Boyd Stadium in Las Vegas, it's time for yet another Horizon Air Beaver touchdown recap, brought to you by Horizon Air. Wings of the Great Northwest. Steven Jackson getting his 3rd touchdown of the game, capping the drive. The Beavers taking over on the 16-yard line following the botched option play. Chaz Scott, the fumble recovery, and the Beavers take it in. Steven Jackson doing a tremendous job both catching and running the football. Indeed, he's being showcased back home. Steven has been a delight to be around his entire career at Oregon State, and this week in particular, back in Vegas with that perpetual smile on his face, and he's got it again tonight, Bob, for good reason.
Well, for very good reason. He's having a terrific game. 2 rushing touchdowns, 1 touchdown receiving.
And indeed, putting a smile on the faces of his family and friends here in Vegas. After the penalty, Kirk Ilanimi having to kick off from the 20-yard line. And on the return, it'll be decent field position across the 35 to the 36 for New Mexico. Brandon Ratcliffe on the return. The penalty assessed on the kickoff on the unsportsmanlike celebration call. The Beavers in command here, to say the least, up 31-7 with 6:54 to go in the half.
And this is New Mexico's largest deficit of the year. The previous was 21 points. They fell behind at Texas Tech 21-0. Ultimately, they lost that game 42-28, but Oregon State doing everything right here in the first half of the football game.
Casey Kelly will come under his big center, Ryan Cook, 6'7", 339 pounds. D.D. Cox, the running back, gets the handoff, runs right, and the Beavers string it out. Mitch Musin comes up from his free safety spot to make the tackle on Cox for no gain, maybe a loss of a half yard. It'll be 2nd down and 10 coming up. Richard Siegler limps off the field a little bit. He doesn't appear to be seriously hurt, but he's immediately going to receive some attention from Barney Graff and the other Beaver trainers. Richard Siegler will be back, I'm sure, Bob. He's not going to let an ankle tweak keep him out of this one, but it's disappointing to see him have to leave.
Yeah, it certainly is, and it appears as though it's an ankle, although it's difficult to tell from our vantage point. We'll keep everyone posted on that.
Trent Bray moves to the middle, flanked by Chaz Scott and Jonathan Pollard. A slot to the left, 2nd and 10. Beavers up 31-7. Give it to Cox. Cox breaks one tackle, but then is ankle tackled by Chaz Scott, who is growing up quickly on the job. A gain of a couple yards out to the 37-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 8, but Scott is making some big plays tonight, Bob. He's got a sack, he's got a fumble recovery, and that was a very good tackle there because Cox had some running room.
Well, he's had an opportunity to play in a couple of games. He's gained some experience, and it's paying off here tonight. D.D. Cox is a good running back. He's in there for more right now, but D.D. Cox had 643 yards rushing on the game. Originally, he went to Oklahoma State then transferred to New Mexico, and he's been backing up Dontrell.
3rd down and 8 for Casey Kelly. 5.5 to go in the half. A 24-point Beaver lead. Play action fake. Blitz coming. Scott and Pollard chasing, as is Brandon Scales. Over the middle, the catch is made at the 40 by Terrence Thomas, short of the 1st down, and New Mexico will have to punt as they pick up only 3. Casey Kelly scrambling around, and New Mexico will kick it away. And the Beavers with the backer blitz again. Pollard and Scott, Brandon Scales, the speedy defensive end. And Casey Kelly, again, got what he could out of it, but a short gain of 3. 4th down and 5, and once again, New Mexico will have to punt the football away. Tyler Goss standing at his 25-yard line in a game utterly dominated by the Beavers. 4:49 and clock running to go in the half, and Oregon State leading 31-7. Goss taking a long time, just does get the snap before the 25-second clock counted down. Keller Christensen with pressure. Cole Clayson spins away from the first wave as he takes the kick at the 16 and spins to about the 20. 4-yard return for Cole, and the Beavers, with 4:29 to go in the half, up 31-7, will have the football back in what has been their most explosive half of the season, their most creative half in terms of the playbook being wide open and expanded to include flea flickers and flanker reverses, screen pass that went for 34 in the first touchdown. It's been a fun half to watch for Beaver Nation back home, and those of you listening on the network, I'm sure they would say amen to that.
Well, there's no question Oregon State has played maybe their best half of football in this entire season here in the Las Vegas Bowl.
Mike Cass and James Newsom bunched to the right. Jackson, the running back. It was the Steven Jackson show on the last drive, and he gets the handoff here and bounces it outside of the 25 to the 30. Jackson dives ahead to about the 33-yard line. He picks up 13 more and a 1st down. And the Beavers throwing early, Bob, as effectively as they did, seems to have softened things up a bit up front for that defensive line, which at front 7 only gives up 80 yards a game rushing, but the Beavers are making some good gains now.
They certainly are. And Oregon State running to the weak side of the defensive formation of New Mexico and pulling the backside guard. That time it was Losey pulling from that left guard position, coming around to open up that hole for Steven Jackson.
David Losey and Brian Kilkenny doing a good job now on 1st down. It's Jackson running right, breaks a tackle, a penalty flag down, and that's too bad because it's probably going to be a hold or an illegal block in the back as Jackson had taken it across the 40 to about the 42-yard line. But it looks as though this one will come back. The Beavers have done a pretty good job in the penalty department here tonight. It is a hold against Oregon State, and that will change the field position complexion significantly with 3:58 to go in the half.
10 yards from the spot of the foul. 1st down.
We talked earlier about how Oregon State had used some trick plays, had been throwing the ball downfield, suggesting that over time that would start to open up some running seams, and it has certainly done that with this 3-man front that New Mexico presents. That time, a hold downfield as Steven Jackson was picking up a good gain on a rush off the right side.
He gained about 7. The football taken back to the 31-yard line. The penalty marched off from the spot of the foul. So it's 1st down and 13. The Beavers are late in breaking out of the huddle, and Derek Anderson is going to have to expend his 2nd time out of the half. And with 3:58 to go in the first half at Sam Boyd Stadium in the 12th annual Las Vegas Bowl, we'll take a break too. It's all Beavers on this Christmas Eve. Oregon State 31, New Mexico 7 on the Beavers Sports Network.
Yeah. Yeah, Lee. Yeah, let's. It was a knee. It looked like to me. Is he okay? Okay. When we get back out of this commercial, I'll come back down to you. Okay. Okay. Welcome back to Sam Boyd Stadium, where Oregon State leads this one 31-7 over New Mexico. Let's go down on the field to Lee Jamison. Richard Siegler was dinged on the last possession defensively for Oregon State. How is he doing, and what's happening down there, Lee?
Well, Richard came over to the sideline, immediately got on the table. Barney Frank got him up there, played with both his knees. Richard's mother and little sister came down to see what was going on. Richard tweaked his right knee a little. They were going to send him to the locker room. He said, I'm playing. He's coming back in.
First and 13 situation for Oregon State. Derek Anderson back, a long throw picked off in the secondary, trying to go to James Newsom, and it was Sidney Wiley in the secondary. Make that Brandon Ratcliffe in the secondary coming in underneath James Newsom, picks off the Derek Anderson pass, takes it back to the 36-yard line. It will be New Mexico's ball with 3:48 to go in the second quarter. New Mexico trailing in this one 31-7.
Well, Bob, about the only thing that could give New Mexico life, they've gotten it. Now it's up to the Beaver defense in the sudden change to make sure New Mexico doesn't finish and take advantage of the opportunity.
That's absolutely right. And Oregon State's defense now back out on the field. And Richard Siegler back at his middle linebacker position. They were checking his knee out a moment ago, but he appears to be okay, and he's back in the football game.
We suspected Richard would come back. They fake the draw to Moore and run the quarterback draw with Casey Kelly, who gets inside the 35-yard line for a couple of yards to the 34. It'll be 2nd down and 8.
Sir Henry Anderson in there at the defensive tackle position. Got a great jump on the ball coming across the line of scrimmage, skating inside of Claude Terrell and then taking down the runner.
2nd down and 8 from the Beaver 34. And from a psychological standpoint, if New Mexico doesn't convert the turnover, they may be devastated heading into that locker room at the half. So a huge series for Casey Kelly and the Lobos. 2 wide receivers with double tights. Moore, the lone setback on 2nd and 8. They fake to Moore. Kelly pulls it back. He wants to run, and he's going to be sacked back at the 38-yard line. The pocket breaking down off of the play action. A loss of 4 on the play. It'll be 3rd down and 12 coming up. And the Beavers coming hard, and way downfield at the end of the play, there's a penalty flag and maybe even some sort of unsportsmanlike play about to be called way downfield at the end of the play. Lee Jamison, what do you got?
Carter came down on a pass pattern. Both Turner and Williams were covering him. Williams, I think, threw a punch. I think he's being ejected. They were really mixing it up down here in the corner of the end zone. But I think Eric Williams just got tossed for throwing a punch.
Well, here's Joe Ryder, who will explain to us. And that, the Beavers have done a good job tonight in the penalty department, have been keeping their emotions in check, but what a huge turn of events this could be. You lose a cornerback perhaps in the process, and instead of 3rd and long coming up and a sack that could take New Mexico out of any life, you may give the Lobos an opportunity to keep this drive going because of it, Bob. We'll have to check it out and see. Here's Joe Ryder now with the call.
After the play, personal foul on the defense, personal foul on the offense. Penalties will cancel.
And it's after the play, so the Beavers catch a pretty good break. I heard nothing about an ejection there, so I take it that there was no ejection of Eric Williams. He simply came off the field. So it will be 3rd down and 14 coming up.
That's a real break for Oregon State. Obviously, we didn't see what happened, but it appeared as though Lee might have been right that Eric Williams could have been ejected from the game because he went straight to the bench. But that is not the case. DJ Coote in there now for Eric Williams at one of the cornerback positions.
DJ Coote and Brandon Browner at the corners. 3rd down and 14. 31-7 Beavers. 2:45 to go in the half. Casey Kelly with Bird at a wing out of shotgun. And now penalty flags fly, and we're going to have a false start against New Mexico that's going to take them even further back. And Brandon Browner yelling at Terrence Thomas.
On the offense. 5 yards, 3rd down.
Mitch Musin trying to settle Brandon Browner down. Look where Mark Banker, the defensive coordinator, is, Bob, trying to rein these guys in a bit.
And you can tell from his arm gestures that this is a stern conversation he's carrying on with his players. He's back off the field now, but he wants to settle them down. They don't need to get out of control in this kind of a situation. It was Terrence Thomas, the outside receiver, with a false start. He didn't look in at the ball, thought he heard the snap count, started to go, and so it backs New Mexico up 5 yards.
Banker was about 20 yards onto the field trying to settle his players down. 3rd and 16. Blitz coming. Casey Kelly to throw deep down the right sideline against DJ Coote, and it's incomplete. Coote does a nice job in coverage against Terrence Thomas, Bob. They thought they'd pick on a guy with less experience than DJ on the go route down the right side, and Coote step for step with Thomas.
Well, it was a good move on New Mexico's part because DJ Coote came into the game a little cold. He plays on special teams, but he hasn't been in the game at cornerback. So they're just going to air it out and see if they can get a couple steps on him. Terrence Thomas trying to take him on the go, but DJ Coote stays in great coverage.
And it's 4th and 16 at the Beaver 42. New Mexico does nothing with the turnover. And now a low snap to the punter, Goss, who gets it away nicely. Cole Clayson backs up, will try to return this one. He's hit and goes down immediately at the 10-yard line. A 1-yard return for brave Cole Clayson with 1:58 to go in the half. And the Beavers leading 31-7. And a tremendous job by the Oregon State D, Bob, to, after what looked to be a momentum-changing play, to stuff New Mexico, in fact, send them backwards.
I think it was a terrific job by Mark Banker to come out on the field and really get the defense's attention and get them back into the game and talk to them about execution as opposed to being so emotional, on that particular situation with New Mexico possessing the ball. So Banker doing a good job of coaching, getting his defense back under control.
The Beavers, with 1 timeout remaining, have the football at their own 10, leading 31-7. Steven Jackson, the running back, on 1st down. Give it to Jackson, following Sanchez, running right. Jackson jumps into the hole, gets out across the 15, and is dragged out of bounds across the 20. It took about 3 Lobos to pull him out at about the 20-yard line, just shy of the 20. It'll be 2nd down and a short one coming up for Steven Jackson and company. Another good 9 yards for Jackson.
A good 9 yards, but great blocking at the point of attack by Oregon State. Kanan Sanchez doing a good job of coming through and helping to seal that corner, and Steven Jackson doing an equally great job of avoiding an attempted tackle by Gabriel Fulbright coming up from the corner on 4th.
16 carries, 81 yards. Jackson the handoff, and he's going to lose a couple here as the Beavers again try to go back to the right side, and he's stopped for a loss, couple of yards to the 17, and Nick Spiegel took a blow from Jackson trying to pull him down. He's very sore, trying to stay in the game at his right outside linebacker spot. Let's send it below to Lee Jamison. Lee.
Richard Sigler has gone to the locker room early with trainer Barney Frank. Barney and his assistant trainer were running in. Richard was walking in. Didn't appear to be limping, so maybe they're just going to go in and check it out.
Thank you, Lee. 3rd down and 3 for the Beavers. 1:14 to go in the half. 31-7, Oregon State in command. Anderson will throw from under center and throws incomplete. Penalty flag goes down as Tim Ewis, the intended receiver, unable to make the catch, slightly overthrown at the 25-yard line of New Mexico. And it looks as though an offensive pass interference call might be made against Ewis or Mike Hass on a block. We'll wait and see. It is pass interference against the Beavers.
They're going to get Mike Hass for a pick. Actually, he was down clearing for Ewis. He was running a clearing route. Ewis was coming underneath on a drag, and Mike Hass was there and hit the cornerback, screened Ewis.
And they'll decline the penalty and force the Beavers into only their 2nd punt of the night on 4th down and 3 with 1:07 to go in the half. And what has been a nearly flawless first half for the Beavers. It's disappointing that the offense would bog down a little bit in their last 2 possessions because they've been hitting on all cylinders all evening and have run into a couple of bumps in the road here in the last 2 series with the turnover and now getting to 2nd and 1 and being forced into punt formation after that.
Well, we have to remember that this New Mexico defense is an awfully good defense, ranked 4th in the nation against the rush, just giving up 80 yards. So for Oregon State to be as effective as they have been in this first half, I think bodes extremely well for the Beavers.
I think we may have a delay of game penalty now against the Beavers as
5 yards, 4th down.
It'll be 4th and 8, taking the football back to the 13-yard line. So the Beavers not quite out of the woods yet in the half in terms of the dangerous punt returner in Dwight Counter. Let's pause here in a moment. Right after the punt, we'll get a station identification in, brought to you by the OSU Bookstore. Another low snap, played on a hop by Toby. Carl does a nice job to get it away, and we'll have a New Mexico player running into his own man and the ball bouncing free at midfield. That's not a violation. It was a New Mexico player who ran into one of his own, and the ball downed at midfield, and that's where New Mexico will put it in play. Oregon State football brought to you by the OSU Bookstore, the official vendor of OSU Athletics. Visit the bookstore on campus in downtown Portland and online at osubookstore.com. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. You're listening to Beaver Football.
The covering player was pushed into the zone. Therefore, will wave off the flag. First down.
57 seconds remaining in the first half. The Beavers leading 31-7. New Mexico with good field position, but failed to take advantage of it the last time. They'll start in an I formation with Adrian Byrd in front of Dontrell Moore. Moore's had a very frustrating night. His counterpart, Steven Jackson, after a slow start, is having a very solid evening and has scored 3 touchdowns. Moore, 5 carries for 4 yards. Out of the I formation, Dontrell gets the handoff, and Dontrell, hit by Dwan Edwards, gets to midfield for a gain of 2. It'll be 2nd down and 8. Dwan having a solid game in his final Oregon State appearance. New Mexico will take a timeout. The Lobos have 1 left. 49 seconds to go. 2nd and 8 coming up.
Oregon State's done a terrific job here in the first half of bottling up Dontrell Moore. He came into this game with over 1,400 yards rushing. He had 19 rushing touchdowns, and they've done a wonderful job here in the first half. That time, Jonathan Pollard came in from his linebacker position on the outside to help disrupt that play early. And then, as you suggested, Mike, Dwan Edwards, who's having just a sensational game inside at the tackle position, underneath, submerging in there, getting good penetration and helping bring Moore down.
16 rushes, minus 1 yards for the New Mexico Lobos. 6 for 5 for Dontrell Moore. Just 46 yards in total offense for New Mexico, a team that's done a very good job this year running the football, averaging 423 yards per game, 31 points per game. And they're looking, as Bob said earlier, at their biggest deficit of the season. They'd love to hit a big play and try to give themselves something to hang their hat on heading into the locker room at intermission. They're down 31-7. Without that, it doesn't bode well for the second half either for New Mexico.
It certainly doesn't. They need a momentum builder here, but it's equally important for Oregon State to make sure that their head's up here, because they're likely to air this ball out and take it to the end zone.
2nd down, a long 8 for the Lobos at their own 49, trailing 31-7. 49 seconds remaining in the half. The Beavers up in press coverage against the New Mexico receivers. The Beavers on the blitz. Casey Kelly throws, and it's caught at the 45. The Beavers were right there to surround the receiver for a loss of 4. Trent Bray was right there. Dontrell Moore out of the backfield, and they lose 4 yards.
With Richard Siegler out of there, Trent Bray now moves to the middle linebacker position. And what Oregon State's doing, the middle linebacker has that running back man on man, and Bray did a terrific job of making a tackle.
Out of shotgun, Bill Swancott in pressure on Casey Kelly and gets the sack. Kelly goes down, losing yardage back to the 38-yard line. In the most dominating performance of the season for Oregon State, it's a loss of 6 more. The clock running down, 4th and 21, and the clock is just simply going to run out to end the half. And an utter dominating half for Oregon State, and Beaver Nation rises here at Sam Boyd Stadium in Las Vegas to salute the Beavers. Lee Jamison getting ready to talk to Mike Riley. The Beavers leading 31-7. Let's go below to Lee.
We've had some pretty good plays. I'd like to just keep playing at a high level. That's a goal right now. I don't want this thing I don't want to get sloppy. I just want to come out and play good football in the second half late.
Richard Siegler tweaked his knee.
Yeah, and I don't know how bad it is for sure. So we'll check that out at halftime. I hope he can come back and play.
Good luck, Mike.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you, Lee. Lee Jamison visiting with Mike Riley as Mike and the Beavers exit Sam Boyd Stadium here at the half in complete command of the football game. At halftime in the 12th annual Las Vegas Bowl, it's the Beavers 31 and New Mexico 7. Halftime activity coming up in Vegas next on the Beavers Sports Network. Thank you.